We're here to talk about a problem, and a really big one, and that's the nutrition of our state. Today, 95% of college students don't get the recommended fruits and vegetables in their daily diet. 95% of all American adults don't get the fiber they need. And obesity is rising and is now at 42.4% of the population. As two college students, we understand that living on a college campus can be like living in a food desert. And so we wanted to address that. And we also understand with the Sustainable Development Goals that this is a really important area. Sustainable Development Goal number 2 aims at no hunger. Number 3 aims at good health and well-being. And number 12 aims at responsible consumption and production. So we understood how big this problem was. So we started talking to people. We talked to everyday eaters like kids, students, all the way to grandparents. We talked to nutrition students like Anthony Deng, who you may be familiar with, and Dana. We talked to food retailers, anywhere from the large chains to the smaller farm stops like Argus here in town. And it summed to this, a huge stakeholder map with a lot of moving parts that we started to be able to understand. Here's what we learned. Around breakfast, which we wanted to focus in on because we noticed a lot of people skipped it or went for overly processed goods or pastries at a coffee shop. We learned people are willing to pay $2 to $3 a serving. They want to use a microwave or stovetop, but nothing too complicated. And they prefer buying in bulk, mostly in store, but sometimes online. Overall, the common point amongst all of our interviews was there's a lack of access to affordable, easy to make, healthy options.
Introducing Brassi. We believe in food without compromises, where you can have food that's both healthy, convenient, sustainable, affordable, and tasty. Specifically, our solution is an easy-to-make full nutrition breakfast at your fingertips. It has a balanced macronutrient profile with 7 grams of fiber, 10 grams of plant-based protein, complex carb, healthy fats, and this hidden vegetable component. And it's specifically designed around the pain points that our customers and stakeholder map saw. So we wanted this to be affordable at $1.33 serving, convenient. It's in a bulk bag, so 6 servings and shelf stable, perfect for a week-long breakfast. And we wanted it to be easy, and we didn't want our customers to get bored with our product. The veggies are hidden in our bowl, just like veggies are hidden in our name. So Brassi comes from the word brassica, which is cauliflower's veggie family. As I mentioned, you can make so much more than just oatmeal with our products, so you won't get bored. You can make pancakes, waffles, you can make chia pudding, energy bites. There's so many possibilities with our product, so customers can explore around and experiment with what works best for them. Currently, we sell on our site and in online and in-person retailers. So there's 3 in the Michigan area and 3 online retailers, and we currently have 2 flavors. It's a cacao and coconut as a play on your childhood Cocoa Puffs, and apple and spice, a little bit more classic. So if you want to try this cauliflower and oatmeal component, it looks a little bit less intimidating. We also promote quite heavily on our social media and also talk about the other pillars and mission of our business. When we were looking at the problems that customers are facing, we also looked at what currently exists in the market. So through competitive analysis, we found some of our closest competitors and looked at these points of such as like ease of purchase, how they engage with customers on social media engagement, their social impact, and see how we could rank up against them. We found that our strong social media engagement and our strong customer reviews put us in a good position to compete among these pre-existing competitors, as well as our strong pillar for social impact and incorporating that into our brand as something that consumers really wanted to see. So we launched pre-orders back in January and we shipped those out in March. And this is what people are saying. I know there's a lot of text on the slide, but I'll just read one of them out real quick. So one of them says, tried my first bowl of Brassi yesterday and it was seriously so good. Congrats on making such an amazing product. Can't wait for more. Love them. Had the apple flavor all weekend and my wife loved it too. Chocolate is up next. Not only are people texting us about what they think of the product, they're also sharing it on social media. So that's been helping a lot. So you can see pictures of here, like people of all ages, college students, grandparents, everyone has been enjoying our products. While we make good food, we're also on a mission to do more, and we want to provide the best experience to our customers and also make an impact. So we want to stay true to our values, and specifically in these two pillars of sustainable business and accessible health. So on the sustainable business side, we use 30% post-consumer recycled plastic in our packaging. It's our products plant-based, and then we also use post-consumer recycled mailers as well as slower shipping. On the accessible health and affordable nutrition side, our product stands around $1.33 per serving. It's shelf stable, so it can last almost a year, and it has this balanced macronutrient profile that'll keep you full till lunch. We're also working on creating a community in person. So we're working with Agrarian Adventures, which is having us go into K through 12 schools in the Ann Arbor area and talking to them about plant-based living. And then we're also working with some other local organizations like the Michigan Good Food Fund to up our impact in the social good space.
As far as our team goes, so Jaqueline and I have been heading it all. And while we know we are two driven women, we also understand where to ask for help. So we've been able to work with a variety of stakeholders like the U of M Law Clinic, an undergrad consulting firm, the Michigan Good Food Fund, which focuses on agriculture in our state, and have been mentored by a variety of other student food startups. As far as our future, we're in month 5, so it's flown by. But as you can see, we have big plans going forwards, which is why we're here asking for funding today to help make this future a reality. And overall, we want to say thank you no matter what. IAA has been an awesome support system, from mapping our ecosystem to telling our story and visualizing. Thank you.
Dana and Stacey, I will let you jump right in.
Okay, I'll go first. Thank you for your presentation. The food looks really good. It's making me hungry. So the first question is, why focus on breakfast as opposed to lunch and dinner? Do you envision expanding the products to, a lunch and dinner options?
Yeah, so touched on this a tiny bit, but with breakfast, we noticed a lot of people don't have the healthiest habits around breakfast. And we're starting on this college campus, which is where people form their habits for their adult lives. And you constantly see your peers and other college students either skipping the meal or grabbing an overly processed bar or pastry. So we thought it was a really good entry point. It also is an awesome point for having a pretty easy to prepare option. Lunch and dinner, people tend to spend longer, but breakfast we thought would be a good place to have this 60 to 90-second ready meal. That said, Jaqueline and I have talked about expansion in future and would love to start with savory cauliflower oatmeal that could go into lunch and dinner, as well as thinking about other products in future that continue to base on this sustainable, plant-based, full nutrition meal.
Thank you. And so the focus is initially on U of M's campus or college campuses across the United States. How do you envision, rolling this out?
So we sell nationwide, but right now we're trying to get a really strong foothold with retailers in Michigan. And so starting in Ann Arbor and then hoping to expand out. What we've learned is the bigger you grow with retailers, A, the more money you need, so you have to give product up front, and B, you tend to need a co-manufacturer and distributor. So we're trying to be really strategic with the way we scale, starting with a smaller footprint and then moving outwards once we're able to.
And just in terms of beyond the college campus, do you see, being able to have this available to communities that may not have access to nutritious breakfasts, like, underserved communities? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, definitely. So with the shelf stable product, that's definitely something that we want to like focus in on, is being able to provide this product to these communities that have trouble accessing like food, so food deserts. So like part of our funding ask would actually go towards looking into like that space and that social impact side, and seeing how we can bring our product to those underserved communities, whether it's through food banks, donating a product when it's like a month, 2 months out from expiration, or having our retailers do that. That's definitely something that we want to explore more. We're also in the process of talking to Maize and Blue Cupboard, so that's another way that we're integrating this aspect on campus.
I have a couple of questions. You mentioned that you're already selling to retailers in store. Who are they?
Yeah, so we're in McPherson's local in Saline, Agricole Farm Stop in Chelsea, and then currently getting placed in Capital City Market in Lansing, as well as selling on 2 online farmers markets, and then a few online marketplaces as well.
And can you speak a little bit more about your sustainability plan?
Yeah, so we have this both in how we run the business and the product we sell. So with the product we sell, totally plant-based, we try to use as much local sourcing as possible. So even if the ingredients aren't grown locally, buying from smaller local businesses. And then our packaging itself is 30% post-consumer recycled. So increasing the demand in the industry for recycled soft plastics and then using less plastic virgin materials. And then on how we run the business, we use post-consumer recycled shippers and use slower shipping time, bundling as much as we can. And then we're also looking at joining 1% for the planet, which is also what we would use part of the funding for, is there's a fee to join up front. And then lastly, within our community, we have a sustainability Saturday on our social media. So we're just sharing with our community easy tips that they can incorporate into their everyday lives outside of our product.
And then your economic sustainability plan, just in terms of, can you speak a little bit more about how the business is functioning and the profit margin, and if you have enough profit to sustain yourself?
Yeah, so currently we're funding it all out of pocket with some grant money that we've also received from U of M. So with this, we're currently, if we're looking at like how much revenue expenses we're generating every month, we are so far have been generating a profit since we launched pre-orders. And we have like around a 30% margin on our products, which is pretty standard for the food industry. And we just followed like what our advisor at the product center told us in terms of like how we should mark up our products, and we've been doing that. I think like to grow, we definitely have some capital where we can sustain ourselves for a little bit of time, but I think definitely having some funding would help us hire on more people, like be able to scale a little bit faster, reach demand and meet demand of like different retailers as we start getting placed into more stores, and also like having operations to help us in the kitchen and stuff like that. So I think while we could do it a little bit longer with just our own money, it would be really nice to have some grant funding to push us like a little bit farther and take us to the next step.
So can you just tell me again your backgrounds as a team?
Yeah, I can start us. So I am a business student with Spanish and environmental studies minors, and also a herb undergraduate fellow. So very interested in the sustainable business space. And then I also have a food blog and I've worked with past food startups consulting. So my side is more like strategy consulting, and then Jaqueline, if you want to take your end.
Yeah, so I'm also a BBA senior. A lot of my time in the business school has been spent in the women's empowerment space as well as like the financial services space. So I'm like more strong in like doing our finances, accounting, consulting, as well as like doing marketing, which is like what I spent a summer working in as well.
Great. And you said that with additional funding, you would want to round out the team. Who would you be looking for?
Right. So our first would be operations, and we've actually identified 2 women who would be awesome to join the team. And that would be because Jaqueline and I are working. So we want to maintain strategic, but would have them packing in the kitchen. We work in a kitchen out in Ypsilanti, and then fulfilling orders. After the 2 operations, a bit further down the road, we'd love to bring on a salesperson who can really be point of contact for all of these retailers that we're starting to make relationships with.